So guys, boom, back in around 2019 to 2020, Kai Sotto and also Chet Holmgren were two names that I personally feel like were the forefront of two players over 7 feet that could potentially be the new stars heading into the NBA. Now, like I said, Kai Sotto, he's a player that definitely bursted onto the scene, at least here in the American world. But if you know Kai Sotto, he's already a player that has tons of fans overseas in the Philippines. And at least just from what I've personally been seeing, the fans and the amount of support that this man Kai Sotto has, it's honestly insane. I'm not gonna lie, I personally wish I had the same amount of support as this man Kai Sotto. But guys, in my personal opinion, I honestly feel like Kai Sotto's buzz and the amount of notoriety that he had was definitely earned. Kai Sotto is not just a fan favorite type of guy. He has all this support for a reason, and it's mainly because he can actually hoop, and he has so much potential to actually be the first Filipino-born basketball player to get drafted in the NBA. Before Kai Sotto actually moved over here to the United States, like I said, he was a phenomenon. He was one in a lifetime type of athlete. He was actually a very dominant player over there in the Philippines, and in his final year, he averaged around 25 points, 13.9 rebounds and 2.6 blocks per game. Now, the fact that Kai Sotto is a player that was really dominating on the court and actually showcasing his skill on the floor, many colleges over here in the United States, they were noticing just how great of a player that he was, and a lot of these schools actually tried to recruit him. But I don't know, me personally, I was kind of confused, and I was actually kind of surprised that Kai Sotto didn't go towards that college route, and he actually enrolled at a program called the Skill Factory based out in Atlanta. And like I said, he wanted to prepare for that next level. Now, my personal opinion, I do think this was definitely a good move for Kai Sotto. He definitely developed very nicely. He definitely improved on his overall strength and just his overall game in general, and this ultimately led him to actually sign to the NBA G League and actually to play with Jalen Green, Isaiah Todd, Jonathan Kuminga, and the whole group. I'm sure we all remember that. But unfortunately, things actually transpired, and he didn't even get to play a single game in the G League, and actually instead signed to play for the Adelaide 36ers. I'm not sure exactly how to say their name, but this was definitely a big move for Kai Sotto, and this was actually the first time that we actually got to see Kai Sotto on a full game scale. Now guys, like I said, that's Kai Sotto. Chet Holmgren was another player back in the 2019-2020s that also had many buzz surrounding his name. He actually earned his buzz by playing with Jalen Suggs back in high school, and he also won multiple state titles, and he also won Gatorade Player of the Year in the state. But guys, I feel like one thing that really excelled Chet Holmgren onto the next level and really gave this man Chet Holmgren so much attention and notoriety was whenever he was playing in an open gym and he crossed up this man Steph Curry with a crazy behind the back move. And I'm telling you, after he did this move, everybody wanted to know who this man Chet Holmgren was. And like I said, he was a 7-foot monster that honestly drew comparisons to players like Dirk Nowitzki, Kristaps Porzingis, and even Kevin Durant, with just the way that he can put the ball on the floor, shoot it from the outside, and also dunk the ball in the paint. Chet Holmgren and Kai Sotto, like I said, were two players everybody and their mama were comparing 2 years ago. But fast forward to today, who is the better prospect? Who's had the better 2-year span? Who is the better prospect? Who has more potential to be a star in the NBA? You watching this video, I do want to know your overall opinions on both of these players. Who do you think is a better prospect? Do you think Kai Sotto should be the #1 pick? Do you think that Chet Holmgren should be the #1 pick? Do you think Kai Sotto made a mistake by going to play overseas? Do you think he should have went to college? How do you think Chet Holmgren actually played at Gonzaga? Anything both of these players related, just comment down below, guys. Let's get a great basketball conversation started. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Chet Holmgren and also Kai Sotto to see who is the better prospect currently right now and who also has potential to be the better player in the NBA. Now guys, starting off with Chet Holmgren, he was actually a player, in my personal opinion, that had a very decorated high school career. Like I said, he won multiple state championships. He also won Gatorade Player of the Year in his state, and in his final year, he actually averaged close to 21 points a game, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, and also 4 blocks. And I feel like one thing that is very, very important that not a lot of people actually realize about this man Chet Holmgren was that he was actually 6'2" in the 8th grade. And I feel like just hearing the fact that he was 6'2" and was essentially projected to be a guard type of player, you can kind of see why and how Chet Holmgren actually gained the type of play style that he does have now and his ability to actually put the ball on the floor. Chet Holmgren actually finished his high school career as the #1 player in that 2021 high school class, and that class featured so many top level players, guys like Jaden Hardy, Amani Bates, Pela Banchero, Jabari Smith, who's also projected to be a #1 pick. Like I said, this class was insanely talented, and the fact that Chet Holmgren finished #1 over all these talented players, it definitely says a lot about a guy like Chet Holmgren, who I personally feel like has a lot of haters, and people essentially don't really believe in a guy like Chet Holmgren. Now, all that ultimately led him to actually commit and actually play 1 year at Gonzaga University. And over at Gonzaga, he averaged around 14 points a game, 10 rebounds, and close to 4 blocks, around 27 minutes per game. In my personal opinion, I do think he had a pretty solid year at Gonzaga. I'm not going to say that he had an over-the-top type of year, or even a year where he just completely dominated and made a case that he should just be the unanimous #1 pick. There was a lot of things that I personally was expecting to see from a guy like Chet Holmgren, especially with the way that a lot of people actually talk about his offensive game. But at least in my personal opinion, I do know that he's even said it himself that he personally believes that he can be a 50, 40, 90 type of player. But in my personal opinion, I do feel like his offensive game definitely needs to improve, and he definitely has to add a lot more to his bag if he does want to get to that point, especially on the next level. Don't get me wrong, Chet Holmgren definitely has a lot of potential on the defensive end, but in my opinion, the offensive end definitely has a lot of improvements that he definitely needs to make. And I do feel like that's the main reason why Gonzaga just did not ultimately make it to the Final Four, or even potentially to win the entire national championship, even though they were projected to even make it that far, but they only made it up to the Sweet 16. And if you guys remember that game, Chet Holmgren, he was actually very unplayable at the end of the game, and he was not even on the court. Don't get me wrong, even though this was definitely a struggling game for Chet Holmgren throughout the entire season, I do feel like he definitely showed flashes that he can be a great player. He can be a guy that can be your defensive anchor in the paint. And the fact that he can also shoot it from the outside, and he's not scared of contact, even though he does have that skinny frame, he's still not scared of contact, even though it does make it a little hard for him to score. I do personally feel like Chet Holmgren definitely has potential to be a great offensive and defensive player in the NBA. Now, Kai Sotto, his story, in my opinion, is kind of all over the place. He's been over here 1 year, the next year he's over there, this year he's here. It's like you kind of never know where this man Kai Sotto is. But like I said, he was supposed to play for the NBA G League, but instead he actually played for the Adelaide 36ers. And in my personal opinion, I also do think this was a very solid year for Kai Sotto. He averaged around 7.5 points a game, 4.5 rebounds, and about 1 block a game, or 0.8 blocks per game, in around 15 minutes throughout the season. Now, if you guys do look at the numbers, you can kind of see that even though he did play 15 minutes versus Chet Holmgren's close to 30 minutes a game, if you kind of cut everything in half, it's actually very similar to Chet Holmgren. I'm not going to be a guy, I obviously watch basketball. I'm not going to be like, if he played 30 minutes, he would average around the same amount of points, this and that. But I just feel like it is kind of interesting to see that, because I personally feel like a lot of people who don't really watch basketball are going to just assume that Chet Holmgren is just the overall better player just because he has better numbers. But I do feel like with the fact that Kai Sotto did play overseas, the game is a lot different. They play more team basketball, and the team in their offensive game was not predicated around a guy like Kai Sotto. Guys, I'm telling you, if you actually were sitting down and you were watching Kai Sotto, you can see that he actually showed a ton of promise. He showed a ton of improvement. I know the defensive numbers weren't there, especially in the blocks and the rebounds, but I'm telling you, if you actually watched him, you can see that his offensive bag is definitely improving by the year. Even his defensive ability as well. I know he was known to not have that lateral ability just yet, and also the fact that he's not the quickest player out there, but you can kind of see the improvement, and that's something that I'm personally liking with a guy like Kai Sotto. I personally think that Kai Sotto definitely should have went somewhere in college. I feel like a lot of people did kind of forget about his name, especially here in the United States, and I do feel like it was actually kind of hard to keep up with his game since he was overseas. If you guys remember, like I said, he was projected to be a top pick in whatever draft he was going to be in, but now you've actually seen rumors that he may not even get drafted this year, or he's going to be going late second round. So like I said, the Knicks, they're a team that I've actually been seeing that could potentially draft a guy like Kai Sotto. Not sure exactly how accurate that is, But like I said, I do feel like he definitely should have went to college, and just that would have definitely helped get a lot more scouts in front of him, and he definitely could have showcased his overall talent. Who do I personally feel like is the better player right now? I'm not gonna lie, I honestly do feel like it is kind of hard to tell. I do want to know your opinions though if you're watching this video. Who do you think is a better overall player right now, Chet Holmgren or Kai Sotto? I'm gonna leave it for you guys to actually decide who do you personally feel like is the better player, who has a better skill set, who do you guys think will have a better NBA career. Just comment down below, guys. Let's get a great basketball conversation started. If you guys want more comparison videos or just videos like this in general, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. It literally takes 2 seconds. Don't forget to join the free Discord down below. Yeah, with all that being said, guys, it's been another episode of JuiceMate TV. Peace.